Okay, so how do you access your magic in stillness? How do you overcome and elevate that consciousness that religion handed you to make you think that the more you do, that first of all, your doing was tied to your validation, that your doing was tied to your self worth? How do you transcend that consciousness? We're going to talk about that in today's episode, so let's get right into it. All right, so I'm going to repeat the question. How do you access your magic in stillness? So, accessing magic in stillness, not doing, but accessing your magic in being still is a ritual because it has to become a practice. That's what a ritual is. A ritual is something that is a part of your life. Okay. So, what you have to do first, you have to recognize the opportunities to be still that come up in your daily life. You'll notice the abundance of those opportunities to be still in your everyday life. What does this look like? Well, very simple. These very simple examples when you're sitting in your car. Whether you're driving, if you're at a light, stop sign, that is an opportunity to exercise, to practice stillness. Not to pick up your phone or play with your radio or whatever, play with buttons in your car while you're waiting for the light to change. That is an opportunity for you to recognize your body, to be in your body, to actually be a human being. Okay? Another way that you can practice stillness in your everyday life is if you're waiting for an appointment somewhere, all right? Rather than you taking out your phone, scrolling, doing whatever, or even talking on the phone, you can take that as an opportunity for you, once again, to be in your body, to recognize how your body is feeling, to ask your body, how are you feeling in this moment? Body, what do you need in this moment? These are very easy examples for you to make stillness, reconnecting with the magic in stillness, reconnecting with your magic in stillness. These are very easy ways that you can reconnect with that in your everyday life. Because we are about, yes, having magic in our lives, having our lives enchanted, making spirituality the backbone of what we do, and yet also integrating those practices in our daily lives. Okay. So when you're eating, even though you're eating, so technically you are doing something, but when was the last time you sat down and ate and really took the time to eat your food, to really take the time to smell the ingredients in your food, to really take the time to taste your food? That is an opportunity for stillness. You see how we overlook these easy things, all right? Another thing that you can do, which is an obvious way to begin to practice stillness, you can purposefully set aside time in your day, every single day, to say from this time to this time, I am going to set aside time for stillness in my mind and in my body. When it is just you, you're not talking to anybody, you have a space that you have dedicated to stillness, to your moment of stillness. It can be as short or as long as you choose it to be. So, when you begin to take up this ritual of getting back to your magic in stillness, what is happening to your body and your nervous system with this ritual? Well, calming and calm, the spirit of calm becomes the norm. Rest becomes the norm. Due to religious influences of service and constantly doing and doing and doing and doing for other people. Am I saying that there's something wrong with doing for other people? Of course not. However, when you're doing and being of service becomes a source of validation and self-worth, which is what religion programs you to believe, that's the danger. And that is the consciousness that could still be operating in your life, even though you have disassociated from the church, even though you have disassociated from religion. And I will say this over and over again. This is why when we talk about deconstructing from religion, it is more than just doing a bunch of research, reading a bunch of books. All of those things are wonderful, but you have to start with the programming that has settled in your nervous system. You have to work on getting your nervous system cleansed from that first. Otherwise, if you start with just getting information, then that's all it is. It is just overwhelming information. All right. So let's come back to the episode. That was my rant there. But okay, so I'm going to read the question again. What is happening to your body and your nervous system when you begin to practice stillness? Calming becomes the norm. Rest becomes the norm. You awaken your intuition. Your intuition becomes at an all-time high because stillness teaches you to become intentional with your energy. I'm going to repeat that. Stillness, your intuition becomes at an all-time high because stillness teaches you to be intentional with your energy, to be intentional with your actions, to be intentional on who you serve and how you serve, to what extent you serve. Also, you'll recognize why stillness has been a challenge for you in the first place. So in the first part of this, which was yesterday, if you have not listened to or watched yesterday's episode, start there, where I talk about the challenges of not being able to be still. And I gave an illustration of what it looks like for a person who cannot be still. And when I say still, I'm talking about in all sense of the word, being quiet, being still in your body, sitting still, literally. Okay. So when I say stillness, I mean this literally. Okay. So you recognize why stillness has been a challenge for you, and you start to see how the programmed identity of a doer, of a worker, of someone who just serves has played out in your life. All right? So, as you make stillness a ritual, you'll notice that, and I alluded to this earlier, but you'll notice that your actions now have more intention because you are more intentional with your energy. Stillness causes you to recognize the energy in which you are taking action. So, when you have operated from a person who takes action only to get validation and who takes action because you think that action is going to help you prove your worth or to prove that you're worthy of what you want in life, that is a different energy versus taking action because you feel that it is aligned, because you feel that this is something that you're passionate about. This is something that you want to do, not out of obligation, not because you want praise from somebody, not because you feel like this action is going to make you more worthy. No, this is an action because you feel that you're being led by your intuition to take the action. Two different energies here. One action, the energy of that action is more chaotic and unstable. The action over here, where you're led by your intuition, that is more intentional. It is more calming. There is a sense of I'm being guided and I know that this is right for me to do for this time, for this moment. Completely different energies. So, stillness causes you to recognize the energy in which you are taking action in. Is it to get acknowledgement? Is your action that you're taking, is it to get validation or acknowledgement from other people? Because you get in a stillness practice, you don't have to run from that question. The question then becomes an alchemizing tool for you. That question is not a place of self-judgment. It becomes an alchemizing tool for you. That is a question that I still ask myself. Why am I doing what I'm doing? For example, I'll use Unleashed Alchemy TV. Why am I on here making videos? Is it to get views? Is it to get subscribers? What is it for? Is it just to get more subscribers? Is it just because it sounds like a topic that seems to be popular? Because religious programming is an ongoing topic, okay? But why am I doing it? Why am I talking about it? The question becomes an alchemizing tool, not a tool of self-judgment. All right, so when you ask yourself that question, and you do find that there is a blind spot of programming, religious programming still operating in your life, then you step into your sovereign that transmutes the need for external validation. So instead of you allowing that action to be in that energy, you take your energy back as a sovereign being, you pull that energy back in, you pull that power back into the external. It does not belong on the outside. That is your power. You pull it back in. Even if you have to get into the space where you're imagining yourself pulling that power back in so that you can now decide if taking the action that you were about to take is aligned with your intuition. That is part of you alchemizing. That's what I mean by that question becoming an alchemizing tool. So now that you have taken your power, now that you have reclaimed that energy, you get to decide what actions you want to take. You get to decide whether people see you taking the action or not. Big deal. Because if it is something that is aligned with your intuition, that is all the validation that you need, because that validation is coming from your internal as a sovereign being. That is how you get to reconnect with your magic in stillness. So I want you to leave me your takeaways. If you're watching this on YouTube on Unleashed Alchemy TV, leave me some comments. If you are new here and you've been watching videos, or maybe this is your first video, subscribe, because there's more to come. Also, if you are listening to the podcast, thank you. Share the episode. You can also, I don't know if I've said this before, but you can also listen to this not only on Spotify and Apple and the other plethora of podcasting platforms. You can also listen to this on YouTube's podcasting platform. All right. So again, share the video. Also, you need to know that the Unleash Your Sovereignty program is starting. This is a live program. It starts August 31st. I'm taking 15 people. These will be 8 live sessions where you're going to, even before the 8 sessions are over, you're going to feel this powerful internal shift within your body as a sovereign being. It's going to feel like you have found that magical key and you are being lit up, you are being activated, you are being elevated, you are being transformed from someone who has operated from religious programming, and you're going to uncover your sovereignty. It's 8 sessions, and there's a reason why. If you go to the link, each session, it shows what is covered in each session. But even after getting to that 8th session, you're going to start to see changes in your life. You're going to feel it on the internal first, but you're going to start to see it manifest in your physical environment. I know that because what I take you through, I had to take myself through. The difference is it took me 20 plus years to do it. That was not necessary, or perhaps it was necessary for me to present the program to you. But again, it's called Unleash Your Sovereignty. Check out the link. If after you read through it, you feel like it's aligned, secure your spot today. All right. There's also ways that you can work with me one-on-one. That's also on unleashedalchemy.com. So yeah, well, that's it. Until our next episode, be sovereign and reconnect with your magic in stillness.